Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuffs here. And, yeah. A little De La Sun up in this piece. It's been a while since I've done a De La Sun review. It's kind of a lie. Why? Because I bought two De La Suns from the same place. One was their stout. It was a low ABV Belgian stout. Reviewed it. Camera screwed up. Lost it. That was about a week ago. So you guys don't get to see that. This will be the most recent review. I forget the last thing I've done, but I've done their beers. It was the Bulba, maybe, was the last one I did. Anyway, this is their Nomi Hodaï. This is actually a collab with... There you go. That looks better. With Oxbow Brewing out of the United States. It says a collab made with our friends from Oxbow Brewing Company. It's a dry hopped session beer with rice. Coming in at 4.5% alcohol by volume. Unfiltered blonde craft beer, re-fermented in a bottle. Pour out without the sediment. It can be drunk separately. Store in a cold and dark place. Enjoy its freshness. This was born on May 2022. That's about as fresh as we're going to get the late De La Sun stuff. And I do dig that bottle. It's kind of a maze thing with, trees and stuff going on, so I dig it. I can get down with it. I need a bottle opener. We have one. So that thing they put on there about the, don't drink with the sediment, drink that separately. It's a very Belgian kind of thing. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll actually pour you a bottle conditioned beer, and this is actually, with me kind of Neanderthaling this around by whipping it around and stuff like that, it's actually still pretty darn clear. What they'll do is they'll pour you a proper pour of a beer like this without sediment, which I'm getting right about there. Get to the bottom, give you a swirl, and then give you a sidecar, like a shot of the hazy stuff on the side that you can drink separately. So I've never seen that on a bottle before. Anyway, that looks very, very clear, especially for a non-centrifuge kind of beer. Like I said, if I poured this out into something separate, maybe I'll pour it into the glass when I'm done. You'll see how hazy it'll make it. Soft, subtle, hazy, kind of straw-like color to it. Very light kind of carbonation, kind of like a snow globe at its end of its fluttering. And this tight, white as white could be, kind of lacing headness on it, as you can see there. So yeah, it looks quite pretty. Let's see what it knows. That really does come off as almost like a super tight lager for me. It has this nice soft citrus with a little bit of rind to it. Nothing too aggressive. Again, 4.5%. We're not expecting this huge over-the-top kind of beer, but it's very, very prominent for its low ABV. There's a little bit of soft, funky skunkiness to it. Is that light struck? Maybe, but I think it actually is probably a little bit of that hop coming through too. And it just comes off, like I said, clean. It comes off very much like lager, like in its aromas. Yeah. Trying to see if there's anything I missed on here. But it makes sense. It very much has Oxbow-y vibes, because I've had much more of their beers than anything else. They say session beer. It could be lager-based. Who knows? But it smells like... I was going to say summer, but it smells like summer into fall, kind of just outside drinking weather when it's not super humid, not super hot, kind of cool. Let's just dive in. Cheers, y'all. That's beautiful. That's a very pretty beer. Man, it really does have this kind of like... I'm going to backtrack a little bit of more summery vibes to me. There's this big citrus component to it. Makes me think of summer. Makes me think of a nice kind of... the spritz of orange as you make like a fresh squeeze kind of orange juice kind of thing going on here. What's a little bit lighter than that, more than orange kind of. It's not necessarily... It's like almost a mixture, lemon-limey in that sense, but it more orange-leaning. It has this nice bitterness that, while not aggressive, is very omnipresent, very much there for a beer as tiny as this. 4.5%. It's aggressively bittering, but not aggressive. I know that's kind of a contradiction, but the beer's so light that its bittering level seems bigger than it actually is, and is appropriate for what you're getting from this beer from a sweetness standpoint and how that bittering kind of works. Man, this is delicious. This is my favorite. This is my favorite De La Senne beer. It might be. It's tall order too, and really, it really screams of this beautiful collab. It has this kind of bitterness that I associate with De La Senne, with their beers, and how like that Terrace Bulba and those kind of beers, they make that little petite beer, I believe, with Gesture King, stuff like that. It has this kind of bittering, because their bittering to me is quite kind of like aggressive old school kind of bittering, like Fugly, kind of Kent Golding, kind of those kind of bitters. But then you have this beautiful farmhouse style kind of base yeast. It comes off clean like a lager, but it has this nice soft, slightly earthy, slightly hay-like kind of yeast that Oxbow is pretty much known for when it comes to their beers. So it's a marriage of those two together. Does the rice play anything into this? Could be. You know, that could be where the grain bill and the beer kind of ekes into kind of lager territory for me. Maybe it's not the yeast. Maybe it's that combination of malt and rice to where it's lighter enough, snappy enough that rice brings out without having that maltiness. And that's why I'm thinking lager on this. It has this little funkiness that I also associate with lagers from time to time, but I also could be very much kind of a more mixed culture-y, kind of wild, kind of saison yeast, something that Oxbow might use. Not that De La Senne is not known for making those beers either, but it just comes off as a super drinkable, really well made session beer, which is kind of crazy because a lot of people put session beers on their beers nowadays, and they tend to be a bit more aggressive, a bit more kind of one and done. For lack of a better term, where this shows with that bittering, with this nice soft malty sweetness, that little bit of sweet, lightness that you're probably getting from that rice as opposed to straight up malt, that citrus level here, you're getting something that comes off super drinkable and super sessionable for me, to the point where I want gallons of this. I don't want a 12-ounce bottle. I don't want a 750. I want this on draft. I want to drink this as potable water in the most beautiful way possible. And kind of bummed because it's $5 a bottle. It's De La Senne. That's what you're gonna pay for that stuff here. But if you could give this to me in 4-packs, which I think it's absolutely can be done, you give this to me in 4-packs for $12. I'm buying this every day of my life. Every day of my life. It is, if I'm gonna compartmentalize it outside of just a what do they say, dry hop session beer. It's almost like a non-acidic farmhouse ale, dry hopped, that comes off as much of a lager as you could think, with an old school bittering and that, like I said, that nice citrus thing that isn't overly aggressive. That's what it is to me. It's a beautiful beer, one of the better session beers classified as that I've had as of late. It's absolutely delicious, and I wish I had more. So good. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about it. Bright citrus, like I said, buoyed by that soft maltiness that is just elevated to lager level by what I assume is that rice. The bittering here, while that citrus is new school, the bittering comes off a little bit tannic, old school fugly, Kent Golding like to me, but not aggressive, but aggressive because of the ABV of this beer. The impact of this beer just comes off as a super sessionable chugger. One of the better ones I've had. This is a Mount Rushmore level beer, whatever category you want to put it in. Let's talk about De La Senne. What are your experiences with them? Have you had a bunch of beers from them? Have you had this particular beer? Have you had this particular batch, which would be May 10th, 2023? It was born on, or bottled 2022. It was bottled on, born on date, or born on date is May 10th, 2022. Best by date is 2023. So have you had this beer? Have you had this batch? Have you had a bunch of De La Senne stuff? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it down there. Have you been to the brewery? Let's do it. Let's do it to it. Let's talk about it down there. There you go. That's it. My review's over. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying your holidays. I'll see you next time. Cheers, y'all.